A warm greetings to one and all. In this session, let's learn about operator overloading. As a part of introduction, we should know that C++ provides the operator with a special meaning for a data type. This ability is known as operator overloading. It is compile time polymorphism concept. It gives flexible options for creating of new definitions for the most of the C++ operators. There are certain rules while defining the operator functions. They are, in case of non-static member function, the binary operator should have only one argument and unary should not have an argument. In case of friend function, the binary operator should have only two arguments and unary should have only one argument. The operator that cannot be overloaded are member selection, that is dot, member pointer selector, that is star asterisk, double colon, which meant for scope resolution operator. And finally, it is ternary operator, that is question mark colon. So these operators cannot be overloaded. And the operator which cannot be overloaded when declaring that the function as friend function are equal to parenthesis, square bracket, and arrow operator. The operator functions must be either a non-static member function, that is global free function, or a friend function. There are some restrictions on operator overloading. The first comes overloading restrictions, that is precedence, associativity, arity of an operator, that is number of operands involved, cannot be changed. The next comes no new operator can be created. We can use only the existing operators. No overloading operators for built-in types. That is, we cannot change how two integers are being added. List of operators that can be overloaded in C++ programming are unary arithmetic operators, binary arithmetic operators, assignment operators, bitwise operators, logical operators, relational operators, dereferencing operators, dynamic memory allocation and deallocation operators, subscript operators, and function call. Operators that cannot be overloaded in C++ programming are scope operator, size of operator, member selector, member pointer selector, ternary operator. Let's have an example for existing operator overloading in C++. Operator less than, that is, it is used in both stream insertion operator and also as bitwise left shift operator. Plus and minus, it performs arithmetic on multiple types. And compiler generates the appropriate code based on the manner in which the operator is being used in above cases. General rules for operator overloading. In order to use an operator on a class object, it must be overloaded unless the assignment operator or the address operator ampersand. That is, assignment operator equal to by default, it performs member-wise assignment. Address operator ampersand by default, it returns the address of an object. Operator overloading can be done by using three approaches. That is, unary operator. Here, operator attached to a single operand. For example, plus A. That is, plus is the operator. It is attached with the single operand A. The next is binary operator. Here, the operators are attached to two operands. For example, A plus B. Here, A and B are the two operands which is attached to the operator plus. The next method is overloading binary operators using the friend function. Now let's learn the syntax of operator overloading. So the syntax is return type operator OP followed by list of arguments. Then we have open curly parenthesis. Within that we have the body of the function and we can end it with the closed curly parenthesis. Here return type is a type of the value which is returned by the specified operation. Operator is a keyword and OP is the operator being overloaded and followed by the list of arguments. We know that here operator OP is the function name, and function name is a keyword, nothing but operator followed by the symbol for the operator being overloaded. That is given in OP. So hope you are clear in syntax. Let's have an example using unary operator overloading. First, let me explain the code, then we can see how the code gets executed. So we have defined the class definition for the class sample. Inside the class, using private access specifier, we have declared the variable count of integer data type and assigned with the value 5. Next, using public access specifier, we have defined the unary operator overloading function. Here, void is a return type. The keyword operator is used to tell the compiler that you are defining or overloading an operator in C++. Next, this function overloads the pre-decrement operator, that is minus minus operator, and it decrements the value of the variable count by 3 and update the value of the variable count here. Next, we have defined the method display with void as return type, and it displays the value of the variable count using cout statement to the user. After the class, the next part is main method. Here we have created the object small s for the class sample. The next statement is minus minus s. So this calls the overloaded minus minus operator on the object s. The next statement is s dot display off. So using the object s of class sample, we are accessing the method display which is available in the class sample. So next return 0, which specifies the successful execution of the code. So hope you are clear in this explanation about the code. So next we can see how the code gets executed. We all know that the execution starts from the main method. So here first we have created the object s for the class sample. The next statement is minus minus s. So this calls the overloaded operator minus minus on the object s. So now control moves to the class sample and finds the operator minus minus. So here it performs count is equivalent to count minus 3, where the value of the variable count is 5. Now it is decremented by 3. Therefore, 5 minus 3 is equivalent to 2. So the value 2 is updated to the variable count. So now the control is shifted to the main method. The next statement is s.display. Now the control is shifted to the class sample and finds the method display and executes the statement cout count, which means it displays the value of the variable count to the user using cout statement as shown in the output here. So this is the output. So the value of the variable count is 2 is displayed to the user as shown here. Now the control moves to the main statement, main method, and the next statement is return 0, which implies the successful execution of the code. So hope you are clear in unary operator overloading with this example code. Let's have an example program for binary operator overloading to perform adding two complex numbers. First, let me explain the code. Next, we can see how the code gets executed. So here we have the class definition for the class complex, and in private access specifier, we have defined two variables, namely a and b of integer data type. Here, a represents the real part of the complex number and b represents the imaginary part of the complex number. In public access specifier, we have declared the method getData, and the return type of this method is void and it has no arguments. Using cout statement, the message enter value of complex numbers a and b is displayed to the user, and using cin a b statement, we are obtaining the values of the variables a and b from the users. The next is binary operator overloading method. This method returns an object of complex class. So the return type is given as complex, followed by the keyword operator and the operator symbol plus, which is used for overloading. We have passed the object OB, which belongs to the class complex, as argument to this method. Next, we have created the object T for the class complex. the next statement, we are adding the value of the variable a from object 1 with the value of the variable a from the object 2, which represents the real part of the complex number. And the value is updated in the variable a, which is present in the object t. Similarly, we are adding the value of the variable b from object 1 with the value of the variable b from object 2 and updated in the value of the variable b, which is present in object t, and returning the value of the object t to the calling method. The next is display method with void as return type and with no arguments to it. It displays the value of the variable a and b to the user using cout statement. So the class gets ended here by closed curly parenthesis and semicolon. The next comes main method. Here we are creating the object 1, object 2 and result for the class complex. Next, by using the object 1, we are accessing the method getData. Next, again, using the object 2, we are accessing the getData method. In next statement, we are adding the object 1 and object 2 and storing the result in the object result where we perform the addition of two complex numbers. Next, we are displaying the message result to the user using cout statement. Using result object, we are accessing the method display. Finally, return 0 comes here, which implies a successful execution of the code. And main method ends here. So hope you are clear in this explanation of the code. Next, we can see how the code gets executed. We all know that the execution starts from the main method. Inside the main method, we have created three objects, namely object 1, object 2, and result for the class complex. The next statement is object 1 dot getData. So using object 1, we are accessing the getData method, which is available in the class complex. So now the control is shifted to class complex and moves to the method getData. So using cout statement, the message enter value of complex numbers a and b is displayed to the user, and user provides a value of a and b via cin statement. We can see here in this output, enter value of complex numbers a and b is displayed to the user, and user has provided the values 3 and 4 for the variables a and b for the object 1. Now the control moves from getData method to main method back. The next statement is object 2 dot getData off. So now the control is shifted to class complex and again finds the getData method. Using cout statement, it displays the message enter value of complex numbers a and b to the user, and user provides the value of the variables a and b via cin statement. So now we can see here enter value for complex number a and b is displayed to the user, and user has provided the values 5 and 6 for the variables a and b for the object 2. Now the control is shifted from getData method to main method. The next statement is result is equal to object 1 plus object 2. So this implies the binary operator overloading. So this statement performs addition of two complex numbers, that is object 1 and object 2. This is based on the overloaded plus operator, which is available in the class complex. Fine. Now the control is shifted to class complex and finds the overloaded plus operator method. Inside this method, we can see here the temporary object t is being created for the class complex. Next, we are adding the value of the variable a from object 1 and the value of the variable a from object 2, which represents the real part of the complex numbers. We can see here the value of the variable a from object 1 is 3 and the value of the variable a from object 2 is 5. So we are adding 3 and 5 and the value 8 is being added in the variable a, which is present in the object t. Similarly, we are adding the value of the variable b from object 1 and the value of the variable b, which is present in the object 2, which represents the imaginary part of the complex numbers. So the value of the variable b in object 1 is 4 and the value of the variable b in object 2 is 6. So 6 plus 4 is 10. So this value is updated in the variable b, which is present in the object t. The next statement is return T. So the object T, which holds the value of the variable A as 8 and B as 10, is being returned back to the main method. The next statement is cout result. So it displays the message result to the user. The next statement is result.display. So using the object result, we are accessing the method display. So now control is shifted to class complex and finds the method display. So using cout statement, we are displaying the values of A and B, which is present in the object result to the user. So we can see here in the output, the result is 8 plus 10i is displayed to the user. We all know that the value 8 is obtained from the object 1a and object 2a, which has been added. That is 3 plus 5 is added. We have obtained 8 and 10 is obtained via object 1's b value and object 2's b value. That is 6 plus 4 is 10. Since it is imaginary part, we are representing it with I. So 8 plus 10i is the final result which is displayed to the user as shown in this output. Now the control is shifted from display method to main method. The next statement is return 0. This implies the successful execution of the code. And the main method ends here. So hope you are clear in binary operator overloading for adding two complex numbers with this example code. Thank you all.